heard all the bullshit from every politician. And he ended, as many people do, in a room drinking wine out of a Burger King cup with ice in it, smoking a pack of Marlboro Reds a day, and saying the N-word. Now, that's neither here nor there, and I don't endorse that kind of behavior. I'm saying idealism ends usually there, is what I'm saying. If you don't have a healthy dose of cynicism, you're going to end up like Dennis. Dennis was not a bad man. He wasn't great. His kids hadn't spoken to him in 5 years, and they called him once, and he was so drunk, he answered, he went, hello, hello. And they went, hi, Dad. And he went, hey, what are you doing? And they said, I think I'm going to go. And he goes, whatever. After everything that happened, Dennis said, life in the big city. It was one of my favorite quotes he ever said. Life in the big city. My mother would go, the cops are going to probably raid the house because they were running a pretty big coke operation upstairs. And Dennis would go, life in the big city. My mother would go, your kids you haven't seen in 5 years called you, and because you were so drunk, they hung up the phone and they never want to speak to you again. Life in the big city. He would say that. He'd sit there holding his hunting knife in a chair, staring at the fire, drinking cheap wine out of a Burger King, big cup with ice in it, smoking Marlboro Reds, and saying life in the big city. He had a few other sayings. Now, these are not good sayings. I do not speak this way. And I could say it was a different time, but there was no time when this was appropriate. He'd walk around and say, there's an N-word in the woodpile. I don't know what that meant. I don't know why he would say that. He was a deranged man who had lost most of what you could ever get in life. He had nothing left. He's dead. You can't cancel him. You can't cancel Dennis. He died exactly as he should have, clutching his chest on a fishing boat in front of his brother. He was young. He was in his late 50s, early 60s, probably early 60s. And he had one last, he loved playing cards. And I don't endorse the sayings, but life in the big city, I don't think that was the worst way to handle everything. And Dennis had guns. Dennis had a lot of guns under his bed, in the closet. But Dennis had those guns in case somebody came into the house. He'd shoot them in the face. So he said, if he was sober enough to find a gun, get his finger on the trigger, thank God that was never tested, would have shot me. Would have shot me when I was just trying to do a line in the bathroom, like an 8th grader getting ready for school.